Hello, 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 everybody. It's your boy MM2K of PNTS Network. Well, really, geeks. I gotta get used to that. Not saying PNTS Network. If you're trying to wonder why I'm not saying PNTS Network anymore, then you got to check out my videos from yesterday. I did a stream yesterday on it, and you can also check the VOD that's going to be playing later today. But yeah, it's just Geek CDO, Cloud Dosage, that is, in Hard Knock Digital Culture. It's that MM2K back again with another NROMicCheck. This is the weekly podcast series where we talk what's buzzing in the gaming world today. And boy, oh boy, do we have an interesting one for you. Today's podcast is the real reason PlayStation 5 is dominating the Xbox Series. We kind of talked about this yesterday in a video. And why was the desktop audio off? That probably was annoying as all hell. Hold on, let me see something. My computer is just going haywire. I just want to make sure that everything is up to snuff and that we ain't got no crazy stuff happening. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about that today. We're going to have a hell of a show. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. But I want to say good morning to everybody. Let me do something real quick. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that we are live. Hold on one second. Let me add all my good peoples. At Sean the Gamer. At Ron Slusher. At who else? Paul Gamer, right? I hate Twitter for that because I have followers who Twitter is very remedial, and Paul G forever. Why is that so hard for Twitter to say, yeah, this guy follows MM2K, so when he's putting in Paul G forever, this is the MFer that we wanted. Stupid. I'm not in the mood today. I have a very hectic day. It's kind of good. Some good stuff happened, but still, I got a lot to do in a little bit of time. Who else do we have here? We got Lo-Fi, we got N7, and then we got my homie Squids. And then who else do we have? I think that's it. We want to post that, and I also want to put this in the Discord. So let's put this in the Geeks Discord. And then I'm also going to create a stage. I'm supposed to do that, but I had so much crazy stuff happening just now. I'll explain to everybody, and then we're going to get into the topic. Where is the announcements for my stuff? MM2K streams. Something weird was happening, I noticed, in the Discord. Okay. Yeah, publish. There we go. Confirm. And then it wouldn't let me publish. All right, whatever. And then yeah, we want to do this. We want to open up a stage. So let's do that. Let me get on the stage here in the Discord. MM2K Live. You got to excuse that stupid music. Start the stage. Create. Start the topic. Start stage. There we go. Oh, that's so simple. All right. So now I'm there. Now we got the stage set up. Bada boom, bada bing. All right. Okay. Gotta give me a second to get the stage set up, which we do. And then, oh yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. We got the stage set up. Yeah. And let me go here to the stage to make sure that I can see it. Okay. I can see the stage. There we go. All right. So we're going to be talking about this whole cold ban. Thank you, Cold Blood, for ban. I don't know where all these bots are coming from that are sitting there trying to promote. And I got one following me in the damn Discord, Cold Blood. It's crazy, dude. Shout out to everybody listening, and we appreciate you. Thank you so much. So I want to talk about some stuff that I'm seeing in the gaming stratosphere that is kind of perplexing. And I do want to say this. We try to clarify things here. I don't have that old fogey wave my fist at the window type of mentality. Get off my lawn. When people are like, oh, I hate console warring. It's so stupid. Yuck. Like, again, a lot, you hear that sentiment a lot from people that are newer to gaming or newer to the gaming community that don't understand the history. They don't have the gamer acumen to understand what they're saying. So they're repurposing words and giving it a whole new technology. I mean, giving it a whole new definition. I don't know why I said technology. I'm doing the same thing. But they're giving a whole new console war, simply put, is the competition between the console platforms. The execs brought up the idea of the console war. So when you're talking about console war in its proper context, you're talking about the battle between both of the platforms, right? He said no mercy for these mofos, right? So when I talk about the console war, I'm talking about the fact that people are, or you might have you might have these different groups that battle back and forth over selling their product or their services or their ecosystem. It's been like that since Genesis, and even before that with ColecoVision and this one and Atari battle and that one. You know, the console wars have been around since the beginning of gaming competition. The thing that people label toxic, or the thing that's actually a problem, it isn't the console war in its proper context. It's fanboying. When you fanboy for a platform, it's a problem. Like, for instance, Nintendo can do no wrong. PlayStation can do no wrong. Xbox can do no wrong. Oh, you don't think God of War is the best game ever made? You're an idiot. Starfield, you don't think Starfield should have got a 10? You're a hater. You know, when you try your best to contort facts, twist truths, just solely for the benefit of your favorite brand, that's fanboying. And why do people do that? Because they take your acceptance of their selection personal. They don't look at it as in, oh, you just don't like the same platform or the same games that I do. They look at it as, hold on, I like that, and you don't like that, and you're criticizing that. You're criticizing my choice, my choice selection. They make it personal. And because they make it personal, then you run into this situation where you're like, hold on. I'm not allowed to express what I feel about who's doing what and how it's providing for me as a gamer. I'm like, I don't have any problem. Like, for instance, I don't have any problem if people like Starfield. You like what you like. That's great. Support it and be there for the DLC and everything. I don't like it. And I don't like how the game was presented. I don't like the motifs that were put behind the game. And I definitely don't like that it came out in the fashion that it did, despite Todd Howard and company's pedigree for making other games that I liked and that I at least enjoyed throughout my experience. So me calling that out, me feeling slighted, and me addressing what I feel, me feeling slighted as a consumer, that has nothing to do with you. You didn't help create the game. I can understand a developer feeling that way. I can understand a creative designer feeling that way. But why do you feel that way? Why are you taking it personally? Because I don't like what you like. That's taking it to another level, and that's fanboying. So we're not against the console war. The console war, simply put, in its purest definition, is the battle between the different console makers for supremacy amongst the products in their sector. I'm for it because that's how we get the best games. So the console war is simply just gauging that activity. And, there's a little ish talking in with that, you know what I'm saying? But it's just again gauging that activity opposed those different platforms battling each other. Fanboying is taking what gets appraised, what gets sold, taking all that stuff personally. Because you erroneously make it a reflection of you. It may accumulatively be a reflection of your tastes as it relates to gaming, but it's your tastes. And as long as there's stuff that's out there to satisfy your tastes, who cares what anybody thinks about it? Like even in my biggest heydays in promoting Stadia, it was never about, oh, you don't like Stadia, it's a problem for you. Like even when we approached Doc Dark, and Doc, something that he brought up will be mentioned here later in relation to, but when we approached Doc, he'll tell you, he was like, man, I've heard a lot of bad stuff about this Stadia. I don't know. And I said, well, if you had heard bad stuff about it and you end up not liking this because we offered him an opportunity to play Stadia to give some hands-on assessment. I said, then Google needs to hear it because Google needs you, gamers like you that are skeptical of it, who finally get their hands on it and try it despite the skepticism. They need to hear where they need to improve. So if you totally stomp this thing out, then that's what Google needs to hear. They need to face reality. I'm not going to take it personally because I like it. And I feel like it has a lot of promise. I want them to maintain what I like, but be able to expand their outreach to you. I don't take that stuff personally. What I take personally is lying to other gamers. In order for you to play any games on Stadia, you have to spend $9.99, or just getting everything wrong altogether as far as what the trajectory was, what they were trying to do, and so forth. That type of stuff I don't like. To serve an agenda. And fanboying is, it's a version of lying to consumers to serve an agenda. You see a lot of that happening. So amidst some stuff that was put out here in the gaming ethos, you have people that are trying to come up with reasons why PlayStation is dominating, right? Where did this story come from? Well, VG Charts had put something out where they did an estimate, and they did an estimate of December's volume. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find it. VG, hold on, I might be able to find it on Twitter. It's probably better than I showed on Twitter. VG Charts. Let's take a look here. That link I didn't have, and I probably should have had that one. Let me see the Xbox. Okay, that's okay. I want to see the December volume. VG Charts December volume. Excuse me. Hopefully we're getting close. It says the PS5 37 months. They take it down? Okay, estimates. All right, we're getting close, I think. NS PlayStation 5. Oh, come on. Am I just better served going to the website? Jesus Christ. They take it down? You would think that they would have put this thing out here a billion times. It says PS5 comparison through 37 months. Huh? That can't be right. Yeah, that's wrong. Jesus Christ. All right, can we please December VG charts. I'm gonna say VG charts December. December 2023. Jesus Christ. Okay, I think this is it. I think this is it. No, that's not it. All right, let me go to VG charts directly. This is pathetic. And this could just be a Twitter thing where Twitter's search mechanics are horrible. Let's see what we can find here. Hardware monthly. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's put this up here. Let's do this. Let's do this, man. Oh yeah, okay. All right, so here we go. All right, so let me show you guys on the web. Here you go. This is VG charts. You can look over here in this section, the monthly hardware totals. Globally, it's at 3.5 million for the PlayStation 5. It's at 1.6 million for closer to 1.7 million for the Switch. And the Series X and S, it's at 1 million. All right. But and that's a 3-to-1 margin, right? More than a 3-to-1 margin. But the more troubling thing is the 2-to-1 margin in the States or in North America. So in North America, it was 1.1 million. PlayStation sold 6.3 million, 630,000 Switches and 630,000 Xboxes. And Xbox sold more per these estimates than the Switch did, but there's a 2-to-1 margin between the Xbox and the PlayStation 5. Here's the problem with that. In Xbox's most competitive, in there, Jonathan in the house, in Xbox's most competitive generation, the 360 generation, they were losing everywhere else except for the States. The States, they were making up the difference in the States, and that's why they were selling more consoles overall. But in the United States, and that's fine, you can lose everywhere else, but if you have a significant lead in the States, because North America is the largest console market out there on the planet, then it's okay. You're making up the difference significantly. So everywhere outside of North America is handedly going to be pro PlayStation. It's going to be very difficult to battle PlayStation elsewhere. PlayStation just has better distribution to places outside of North America. Their consoles have a longer shelf life. Like generally in like poor countries, you know, we're on the PlayStation 5 now. There's some poor countries that are just hopping on the PlayStation 3. I saw something somewhere where there were still so many PlayStation 3 active users. That's because as we've gravitated to the PlayStation 4 era or even the PlayStation 5 era, some of these poor countries, they're just being introduced to the PlayStation 3. So, yeah, there's a lot of secondhand stuff being sold or whatever, but still, they're just being introduced to the PlayStation 3. So PlayStations in general globally have a longer shelf life outside of North America, and that's a large reason why they just dominate that space, and it's going to be next to impossible to shake PlayStation away from that dominance outside of North America. That's not a problem for Xbox, as they showed with the 360 era. They can still exist. They can still be somewhat competitive everywhere else globally, but the difference maker is what they do in North America. So you can't be losing everywhere else, right? You can't be losing everywhere else and then be losing handedly in North America. It just spells disaster for you. You're SOL. Here's the problem that we're running into now is the reaction to all this. And we talked about this in our video, but let me show it to you guys again. The reaction to this is from Kid Smooth. He's a prominent Xbox content creator. He calls himself the best bot. And like I've said before, I don't have a problem with Kid Smooth. I just think that this is a very interesting discussion that was spearheaded by something Kid Smooth said. Other pro Xbox creators have tried to chime in and add their 2 cents to it. And I think they're just mucking up the whole discussion and taking us away from a fathomable, factual plane. Even if it is inadvertent, we're going to try to bring you back on track here. So what Kid Smooth said is he said, this will sound salty of me, but here it is. PlayStation 5 is outselling the Xbox Series X and S 3-1 for absolutely no reason. They had one game this year. People say PlayStation is better due to games, but that's not even true when PlayStation does not have games and Xbox does. People still buy PlayStation. So that's giving you this motif or this theory that that people are just brainwashed into buying PlayStation, even if they don't have anything of desire to give you. You just want to have a PlayStation no matter what. It's indicating that you're being brainwashed into this. All right. And then, so on top of that, we've had people say things like, well, you can't argue that it's because of the exclusives, because exclusives don't matter. There was this interesting extraction of data that PlayStation put out there. I don't have the thing and I don't want to go looking for it. It's probably going to take longer than it did for me to find that VG charts thing, but I'll just tell you what it is. It gives you a list of the top 3 most played games in hours in different regions globally. And quite regularly, 2 out of the 3 are Fortnite and Call of Duty. And then depending upon the region, the third one might vary. It might be Madden, or it might be Diablo, or, it just varies. But quite routinely, the top 2 games that are being played on PlayStation are Call of Duty and Fortnite, right? So you can understand why Jim Ryan and company were up in arms at first about this whole deal of the ABK deal. They lost what, $20 billion in market evaluation the day that it was announced. So yeah, Call of Duty is a big deal. You know what I mean? And as far as the third party multi-plat title, it's going to be a lucrative one for Xbox if it keeps its same staying power after they finally recouped everything that they paid for the ABK deal. So year 11, 12, 13, yeah, they're going to have a prominent franchise on their hands if Call of Duty is still at the same potency. So yeah, that's a big deal. But what's being made out of that whole scenario, that whole situation, is they're like, none of the PlayStation games are top 3 on this list. And so that means that PlayStation games are not the reasons why people are buying PlayStations. That's a farce. That's not real. That's not reality. You guys are making this up. And so now people are like adding their own conjecture on what happened. And they're trying to make it seem like that it's out of Xbox's hands. Like Xbox doesn't have the power to overcome PlayStation. Gamers are just brainwashed, right? That's what they're trying to make it seem. It's not that Phil can do better. There's nothing that we can do. Starfield was a 10 out of 10, and you saw what they did to that. And now it's these reasons. People are brainwashed. And the other reason that people are saying is that it's because PlayStation dominated generations before. Like I heard, shout out to Doc Dark. Doc Dark said that it was the PlayStation 3 generation and the PlayStation 4 generation that because PlayStation did so well in those two generations that Xbox just can't come back. All right. So I'm going to take a little bit more time with the Doc Dark's part, Doc Dark's analysis. It's problematic, but I'm going to deal with that later. First, let me deal with this notion that people are brainwashed and PlayStation really didn't have any games. The proof is in the pudding, and that's not why people are buying PlayStation. It's not their games. People are buying it for multiplats, and they're just hearing that's where you want to play multiplats at, and that's where they're buying. That's why they're buying PlayStation. So let's address that by putting up something. Excuse me. That I think really details why that's bogus. And it's something that was brought to us courtesy of our good friend Porter Rock. Porter Rock is a pro PlayStation gamer. And shout out to Porter Rock. He's still battling. He's still fighting the good fight, as he says. He's your only friend in the YouTube streets. And I clipped something that I heard from him earlier today, and I said this will go great with the content that I already have in store, and we'll talk about it. So as you see here, I say shout out to Porter Rock taking a sledgehammer to fanboy logic. Why Xbox fanboy logic that PlayStation exclusives don't matter is goofy. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to cut off the music, and I'm going to play what Porter Rock says, and then we're going to talk about it on the back end. So let's do that right now.
Your first party games. The logic being presented is because you put in 300 hours of Call of Duty, the 5 games you beat doesn't matter no more. So they're using hours accumulated as the benchmark of the value and the relevance of the games, right? So you beat 5 PlayStation first party games, but because of the hours accumulated doesn't equal the 1 game of Call of Duty, those 5 first party don't matter. And that is a fundamentally stupid logic that I have ever heard. Because even if the 5 first-party games do not accumulate Call of Duty, you still play those 5 games, and chances are those 5 games is the reason why you are playing Call of Duty on your PlayStation and not playing Call of Duty on any other brand. Because the other brand don't have other games aside from Call of Duty that you're interested in. Play your first-party games.
Did you hear that? In case you didn't, let me play it again. Let's play it again.
The logic being presented is because you put in 300 hours of Call of Duty, the 5 games you beat doesn't matter no more. So they're using hours accumulated as the benchmark of the value and the relevance of the games, right? So you beat 5 PlayStation first-party games, but because of the hours accumulated doesn't equal the 1 game of Call of Duty, those 5 first-party don't matter. And that is a fundamentally stupid logic that I have ever heard. Because even if the 5 first-party games do not accumulate Call of Duty, you still play those 5 games, and chances are those 5 games is the reason why you are playing Call of Duty on your PlayStation and not playing Call of Duty on any other brand. Because the other brand don't have other games aside from Call of Duty that you're interested in. Play your first-party games.
Okay, so great breakdown from ASRock. Let's talk about it on the back end. So what ASRock wisely surmises is, look, this chart that's flowing out here about, you know, the top 3 games that are being played on PlayStation are not PlayStation games, therefore XYZ, that's bogus. Why is that bogus? Because there are games that are built as games as a service that are the regular comfort games that a lot of gamers will go to. Your Call of Duty, your 2Ks, your Mans or whatever. So you know you're going to play those games. I know I'm going to play 2K. I know I'm going to play Madden. I know I'm going to play Call of Duty, and those games are everywhere. But I have various options to where I'm going to play those games. The question is, where am I going to play those games? What is the deciding factor of me playing those games? And the deciding factor is a PlayStation. Why is PlayStation a deciding factor where I'm going to play those games? Because as ASRock illustrates, most of the games that I would play in unison with these games that interest me, a Spider-Man, a God of War, Final Fantasy or whatever, that would take me away from my comfort game, most of those games are on PlayStation. There are no games on Xbox. A Starfield, a Redfall, a Minecraft Legends. I'm not interested in those games as much as I am the PlayStation games. I know I'm going to play Call of Duty, but like with every gamer, you want to take time away from the usual and try something else. Who has the stuff that I would like, that most likely interests me on a particular platform? Because most gamers don't sit there and double dip in multiple platforms. It doesn't happen. Most gamers buy on average 2 games a year. They have like 9 games in their catalog. So on average, those games that they have, that they routinely play, they're going to play them regardless. The question is, where are you going to play them? And where's the place that they most likely are going to play them? It's on PlayStation. Why? Well, people say you play where your friends are at. Well, why are their friends there? Why are their friends there? Because the friends are there. And these friends are usually your better Call of Duty players. Like, for instance, if I play Call of Duty, I know who I would want to team up with. I would want to team up with my homie Cold Blood Sensei. And there's this other guy that was playing. I think his name was Vermi or something like. I was following him, but I haven't seen him in a while. Those two dudes can kick ass. They were carrying my Triple B brethren when they was playing Call of Duty. So I'm like, yo, Cold Blood, where are you playing Call of Duty? Cold Blood is going to tell me, oh, bro, I'm playing it on the PlayStation 5. Now, if all I'm interested in is Call of Duty and I'm going where my friend is going, then yes, I'm going where my friend goes. But then you got to take it to another level. Why is my friend selecting the PlayStation 5? Well, if I'm trying to follow the better gamer who is Cold Blood, then he's more of a hardcore gamer. He's more likely to play more games and have a broader gaming selection. And in having that broader gaming selection, he's going to go to the platform where, guess what? They have the games that he wants to play. So where are those games that he wants to play? They're on PlayStation. So even to supplement that argument, oh, people will just, well, okay, man, we get Porter Rock's point, but people just go where their friends go to. Okay, normally you have friends tagging along with the best players. Those best players are normally the more hardcore gamers with the broader catalog. Where are the games that the hardcore gamers want to play? Let me give you a hint. They're not on Xbox. So when y'all sit here and bellyache and talk about, oh, you guys ain't buying this game and you guys ain't like there's when you guys bellyache and say, oh, there's 150 PlayStation 4s out here, but there's only 18 million God of Wars. What you don't understand is those 18 million God of Wars, they have a cyclical effect. They hunker in the hardcore, and all of their friends that play games with them that use that hardcore gamer as a crutch on games like 2K, Call of Duty, or Madden or whatever, they're now following that gamer, even if they don't play those additional exclusives. The hardcore gamer, that is the anchor for all the other friends going to said platform, they do play them. That's why AAA genre-defining games are so important. That's another reason why they're so important. Not only do they are they vital to a platform maker to help them decide what to help consumers decide what platform they're going to that likes to play those games, but they hunker in the hardcore gamer who is usually the catalyst of the other gamers coming to said platform to play the multiplats. But this is not new. We've been, I've been in this game since 2017 when it comes to YouTube. We've been talking about that since then. It's you new school gamers that just got hep to gaming or new to this is new to y'all because y'all don't want to do y'all history. Y'all just want to grab a mic, start talking, start saying stuff, and don't understand what you're saying. Even if every gamer that ends up on PlayStation 5 don't eventually play those exclusives, they do one of two things. They hunker in the hardcore gamer who that one game, that multiplat gamer is following. It's usually part of their clan, their group, the people that they game with, right? Secondly, there are some casual gamers that say, you know what? This game is everywhere, but I wonder who has other games that might interest me that I might be willing to try. And they'll go look and they'll say, oh, they do got Spider-Man. That would interest me. They do have God of War. That would interest me. Oh, they got Gran Turismo. That would interest me. Oh, that Horizon Forbidden West. That looks cool. Oh, let me look it up. Everybody's talking about that one. Okay, that would interest me. I might be willing to try them out. And they go to the platform where that's at. So it has a double effect. I think the more effective thing that it does is that it does hunker in the hardcore gamer who spurs a lot more growth due to the fact that they are the gamer that the friends are following because they're the best one in the clan. They're the more hardcore gamer. They're the ones that they want to play Call of Duty with. The more hardcore gamer anchors in and sets the trends. Even if everybody else doesn't play those games, they set the trend. That's why PlayStation is willing to invest in AAA genre-defining games with a 60% failure rate. They know, and Yoshida said this in 2015, they know that out of every 10 exclusives that they either create or fund, that only 4 of them are going to see success. They know the other 6 might fail, but they're going to try. They're going to try to put as many of them out there as they can to lure as many of the hardcore, that anchor in as many of the hardcore as they can. When you anchor in the hardcore, you bring in the casuals that are going to play the multiplats. Why? Because it's usually the hardcore that the casuals want to play with. And if the majority of your hardcore are going to the PlayStation, that's where the casuals are going to go. You talk to anybody that's part of a clan where all they do is play Call of Duty. They don't play nothing else. They don't entertain anything else. Oh yeah, my friends, man, yeah, they're playing that Final Fantasy. They can't wait. I don't, play that, but they love that other stuff. You talk to a casual. See, that's another thing that I did even before I got on YouTube. I went on the street and I talked to people. When I was an Xbox fan, I was asking people, why won't you pick up the Xbox? Why won't you try this? Why don't you try that? I had conversations with people. I didn't just make stuff up on the fly and then try to absolve the poor job that the Xbox execs are doing. They're doing a poor job. They should have never abandoned second-party exclusives. They should have never abandoned going through a process to ensure their AAA genre-defining exclusives were highly sought after. Instead, they thought that they could just hit you with a barrage of cool experiences and put them in a subscription service, and that would change the tide for them. No, it doesn't work like that. Again, the way that this works is you impress the hardcore. The hardcore are like the cool kids. You see what I'm saying? The hardcore are like the cool kids in the high school who got the money or got the relationships established. And so then they start wearing said jackets or said things or rolling with said style. And then the rest of the kids follow. So whatever platform the hardcore want to go to, everybody else followed. That was the success of the 360. That's basically it, the success of the 360. All of the hardcore AAA genre defining games that the hardcore wanted to play were on the 360. So then what happened in attrition? The casual gamers followed. And then you had the advent of multiplayer online gaming happening during the 360 generation. Oh, the rest is history. You cannot have AAA genre defining games go to the wayside and you think you're going to win a console war. You're not. Or you're going to be able to compete in the AAA genre defining space. You're not. Maybe if PlayStation closes shop. And I think that's why you have a lot of Xbox diehards and zealots that instead of bragging about what Xbox is doing that is garnering success, they are watching and hoping for the demise of PlayStation. Most of their conversations are about PlayStation, Connie Booth, Bungie, this, that, and the how there's this perpetual state of they're trying to fearmonger and get you in this perpetual state of belief that the PlayStation ship is going down. Even our good friend David Jaffe fed into that rhetoric. He said, if you can't see the Lindenberg of PlayStation, if you can't see the ice block that the PlayStation is about to run into, I don't know what to tell you. That's what he prophesized. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find it. Let me see here. Give me a second. No. What was it? If you can't see the ice. What are these? What the iceberg? I think that's the way he put it. Nah. Okay. Damn it. I gotta find it. Hold on, where is, you know what, let me see if let me look for David Jaffe in name. Let me look for him in his name. At Jaffe. Okay, at David Scott Jaffe. And I think did he use the word Lindenberg? I think he did. Okay, no, he didn't. Only, damn it. Oh man. Hold on, let me try one more thing, see if I can find it. Okay. Ice. Maybe he used another term. Let's see here. Let me put PlayStation. Ice PlayStation. Ice cream. Nope, I can't find it. Okay. I'll keep looking for that tweet. But yeah, he essentially said if you can't see the trouble that PlayStation, like they're going to be doomed because they didn't, because they're not following the path of Xbox with day and date into their PlayStation Plus service. And here we see where Xbox was failing to meet its litmuses for Game Pass to where they had to scale back on their expectations, and PlayStation in reverse, they were meeting their expectations. And you even see the top two tiers go from 2 million subscribers to 14 million. They reported that, I think, last year. So yeah, there's this perpetual state of fear mongering that goes on with PlayStation. Oh, PlayStation, it's about to die, about to croak. And that's why you have so many content creators on that mess. Because the fact of the matter is that PlayStation is just dominating. And they don't have to be ultra user friendly in order to dominate. Like when you think about it, putting your games day and date into a subscription service the way that Xbox is doing, that seems extremely user friendly. So I get why people are excited about that proposal. And they're thinking, well, you know what? That's an exciting proposal given by Xbox, but we really don't want their games day and date. We'd rather have PlayStation games. So PlayStation, why won't you be that extremely user friendly? That's the way that they're looking at it. And PlayStation's like, no, we don't need to be. We're gonna stick with the traditional model. We'll make exceptions where the exceptions make sense, but we're not going to do it. And I can understand why, because AAA genre defining gaming is an expensive hobby. It's an expensive thing to get into. And look, PlayStation tried to skirt with putting their game in a subscription model earlier than they wanted to, right? Like Horizon Forbidden West, they put in, I think, a year earlier than they originally planned. And guess what? They lost $85 million in potential revenue when they did that. So guess what? You're not going to see that day and date. You're not going to see that from PlayStation. Are there issues with the sustainability of AAA gaming? Yes, there is. But there's way more issues in the sustainability of putting quality AAA games day and date in a subscription service. The sustainability of that is way off keister. Something has to give. Either the games are not quality, or the subscription model has to go up in price. Like something has to give. And hence why I think you're seeing the quality of games as they flow through the prism of PlayStation, they continue to lessen and lessen and lessen. Arcane Studios, as a matter of fact, they've never had a game that was that attacked until Redfall. That was an embarrassment. And Xbox actually said that they thought it was going to score 15 point or double-digit points higher than what it actually did. Even the Minecraft series, outside of the base game, it keeps disappointing as far as its longevity, its extension of the brand. It's not doing what it needs to do to significantly grow the subscription or grow Game Pass. It's not doing it. Starfield. That was really the biggest hoorah that Xbox gave in a while. And because it had so much attention to it and it was so hyped, like its predecessor, well, I don't want to say, but just like CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk, it does bolster some great launch numbers. But those two games, even though they're single player games and not games as a service titles, they were not meant to be played and walked away from. These were games that were meant to be played for hundreds of hours, a lot be put into them, people trying out the different scenarios. Then here comes the mods, and the mods increase the engagements, and particularly Starfield, way more than Cyberpunk was supposed to be that. I mean, that was the game. Those are the games that were supposed to be engaged long after launch. And what did we see? We saw Cyberpunk fizzle after launch, and then we saw Starfield fizzle significantly after launch, to the point to where their PR or whoever it is on Steam reviews trying to convince people why they just were playing the game wrong. So this whole notion that exclusives don't matter, it's bullpucky. This is not new news, gamers. It's new news to you because before jumping into this arena, you didn't do your warm-ups, you didn't do your calisthenics, you didn't work out or anything like that. You just jumped in the ring. Now you're getting DDT'd and pile drived and drop kicked all over the place. This is not new news again. The success to AAA genre defining consoles and hardware is simply this: appease the hardcore and they will come. It's nothing new. That's always been the winning formula, and that always will be. Period. Whether you like it or not. So that is me addressing the whole, you know what, this is, people are just brainwashed into PlayStation. Did I touch on the argument that I heard my brother Doc? Yeah, okay. So my brother Doc, shout out to Doc. He had put out a video where he said that the reason why that Xbox is losing out this generation started well before the Xbox One. He slyly tried to, hey Doc, I saw what you was trying to do, bro. I saw what you was trying to do. I peeped you. Shout out to you with all your slickness. You think you slicker than fish grease, bro. he tried to put the PlayStation 3 in there. The least successful PlayStation console. He tried to blame them. Granted, don't get me wrong, the last 2 years when Xbox was focused on, they had already abandoned that generation. They were focused on getting the Kinect 2.0 ready, priming it with Kinect 1.0. They were already looking ahead. They already said, we did what we needed to do. We became a staple in gaming, and now we are favored above you. Y'all have sold more consoles or whatever. We still are kicking your ass in software. We made our name. The developers favor us. Y'all can do whatever y'all want, right? So even though PlayStation 3 had those better last 2 years when Xbox had pretty much just abandoned the generation and was moving on, the PlayStation 3 cannot be looked at as a springboard for anything that caused Xbox woes. Xbox essentially said, we won on points. So even if we walk out the ring during the ding, or even if we just dodge you and we don't throw a single punch, these last 2 rounds we won. And they were looking at the software saturation, which is, and I had this argument with somebody on Twitter, the software saturation means the most to these console makers. They call it the console war because usually if you sell the most consoles, that means that you sold the most software. But you had like kind of a unicorn happen in that 360 generation where, okay, as the 8th generation started, PlayStation 3 had more consoles sold, but that's because Xbox pretty much just gave up in those last 2 years. They weren't focused on consoles or selling more consoles. They were focused on the Kinect peripheral. They wanted to sell a whole bunch of Kinects. And the Kinect, I think, is the most successful peripheral of all time. Kinect 1.0, that is. That's what they were looking at, using their already established Xbox base to sell this Kinect peripheral. They weren't worried. We already sold the most software. It's like a boxer. Okay, you might have thrown more punches. You know what I mean? You may have landed more punches, but I applied more knockouts during the fight to where, stylistically, I could just dodge you the last 2 rounds and I'm still going to win. That's how Xbox looked at it during the 360 generation. So, that being said, you can't use PlayStation 3 as a catalyst to say, oh, Xbox started to mess up there. No. That's not where Xbox started to mess up. Xbox started to mess up in the Xbox One generation, where they were still the clear favorites. Everybody was expecting Xbox to dominate until that E3, where PlayStation 8 Xboxes launched in this presentation, and they were very clever and very sly in their presentation. And then what Xbox did is they got rid of Don Matrick or whatever. They went in a new direction under Satya Nadella, and they boosted up. Phil Spencer had Terry Myerson as a stopgap to make sure that too much money wasn't being spent, right? He kept his hand on the checkbook. And then under Phil Spencer, Xbox started falling for every single trap that PlayStation put out there. Y'all ain't supporting the indies. So then ID Xbox was bolstered, right? Oh, y'all ain't got the power narrative. So then they came out with the Xbox One X. Y'all ain't really banging with enough first party exclusives. So then now they done bought up all these studios, right? Where none of the three did anything to put a dent into the trajectory of PlayStation. Nothing did. Nothing. That didn't start in the PlayStation 3 generation. Again, Xbox just they was just jumping around the ring and dodging throws those last 2 rounds. Those last 2 years of that generation. They knew that they already won in points. What happened with this downward spiral of Xbox started in the Xbox One generation. When Xbox lost its identity under Phil and Satya, and they start chasing the tricks that PlayStation put out there. Why do you care about indies predominantly? I'm not saying you shouldn't care about indies at all, but why do you care about indies predominantly when you're a AAA genre defining box? That's never been the case. Why are you worried about the power narrative when just last gen they were like the cell processor was way more powerful than the 360? Right? The PlayStation 2 was whooping your ass, and the Xbox, the way the OG Xbox made games look, it looked like a completely different generation game. You know what I'm saying? Like it was from a future generation. You had the power narrative with the OG Xbox, and you got your ass whooped. So you already knew it had nothing to do with power. And when it comes to first party games, if I urge you to go back to Porter Rock's video. PlayStation 2 didn't overwhelm you with first party games. It wasn't their first party studios that did it. I mean, yeah, Gran Turismo was a beast, but you had Halo. And Halo, I believe, sold more than Gran Turismo. So it wasn't your first party games. What was the deciding and then no, I'm not even done. When we go to the 360 generation, yeah, you had Halo, but you've always had Halo. What was the thing that took you over the top? It was BioShock. It was Mass Effect. It was all those other games, even though they were only timed exclusives. And it was Fallout. You having the marketing deal for Fallout, and Fallout looking more like an extension of the Xbox more so than the PlayStation. The thing that brought y'all success, that took y'all over the top, was not your first party games. It wasn't Halo. Halo was the icing on the cake because you had Halo last gen when you got your ass kicked. It was just the sheer fact that you had highly sought after exclusives. That's what did the trick. Now you're falling for this okie doke of, oh, you gotta have first party exclusives. You keep falling for these traps where while you're falling for these traps under Phil and Satya, PlayStation is doubling down on the only thing that matters. It's exclusive content. Sean Layton said this in an interview. He said, once we knew that we had our dominant stance again, we went back to our Japanese game partners who, because of the advent of the 360, they started making cell phone games. We said, y'all ain't got to make those anymore. Come back. And that's how you got platinum games with Nier Automata, and then I forgot the Shakira games or whatever. That's when you started seeing them working with Square Enix and coming up with these second party exclusive deals, along with now their genre defining first party titles. See, they just needed to buy time, and you, not being smart enough to see what was going on to separate the forest from the trees, you fell right into their hands. Instead of taking time after you got caught with that A-maker at the beginning of the Xbox One generation, instead of taking time and catching your breath and recalibrating yourself, you're in a daze trying to follow them around the ring, stumbling and falling and keep getting the 10 count applied to you. And all you did was just gave more time for PlayStation to collect its breath once you finally stand up in front of them and them knock your ass out. That's what happened to Xbox. Instead of focusing on the type of games that brought you success in generations before, that even made you a competitor, you lost your identity, fell for all these PlayStation traps, and because you fell for the PlayStation traps, you said, oh, well, this ain't worth it. Let's try something totally radically new. Let's try to flip the game on its head to where only we can compete. Let's use our money. And I don't blame you for using your money. I think that's smart. I think that's smart. He said Halo never sold more than Gran Turismo. How many? Let's look at it. How many copies did Halo 2 sell? Okay, 8 million. Let's do Halo 3. 14.5 million. Okay. So how many copies was that Gran Turismo 3 sell? Okay. 5 more rows. Oh, come on. Hold on. Okay, so Halo 3, Cold Blood. Oh, where's that chart at from? So Halo 3 came out in 2007, and that sold 14 million, right? The closest games around that time from Gran Turismo were Gran Turismo 4 that sold 12 million and Gran Turismo 5 that also sold 12 million. So yes, Halo outsold Gran Turismo 4 and 5 separately. Halo 3 did. Ha 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 ha. Anywho, let me get back to it. I didn't say franchise sales. I said there's no way you can say that of course, you know I'm not talking about franchise sales because there's 30,000, a billion more Gran Turismos than Halos. I'm talking about the individual games around that time. We can't talk. How can I compare to even though the PlayStation 1 versions didn't sell as many as the 3, 4, and 5. I can't compare to those. I'm talking about the Gran Turismo games that came out in that time frame. How many Gran Turismo games are there? Jesus Christ. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 Gran Turismo games. There's half. Well, Halo Infinite, I guess you could. Well, no, there was the Master Chief Collection and all that other stuff. But no, I'm not talking about the entire franchise. I'm talking about you had a game that came out in Halo 3 that sold more than the Gran Turismo that came out before it, and it sold more than the Gran Turismo that came out after it. And as a matter of fact, if we're just talking about the PlayStation 3 Gran Turismos, which were 5 and 6, Halo 3 almost outsells them combined. Gran Turismo 5 had 12 million. Gran Turismo 6 had 5 million. And Halo 3 did what, 14 point, you might as well say 15 million. So, or rather, it almost Halo 3 almost sold as much as both of the Gran Turismos combined. I don't know how much Halo 4 sold. Halo 4 came out. Did not come out during the 360 era, or no. Yeah. So during that, I'm talking about what was achieved by Xbox during the 360 era. He says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Propper's place. What's going on, brother? He says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in Infinity Wars 1 and 2 and those Spartan Assaults. All right, we ain't talking about that. Come on, the Spartan Assaults game. I'm talking about the standard Halo games, and I'm talking about specifically what Halo was able to do in the Xbox 360 in the PlayStation 3 generation. One game, Halo 3 outsold both. Halo 3 outsold both Gran Turismo 5 and Gran Turismo 6. It almost had as many sales as both of those games combined. And then I guess if you want to throw Halo Reach in there, I wonder how many. Let's see here. If you're looking at collectively Halo Reach sales. I didn't ask for how much money they made. How much did Halo Reach sell? They're talking about 200 million. Hold on. In 2015, they're claiming whatever that Halo reached it 9 million. Wow. Whoa. Whoa. And it probably did more. So Halo reached it 9 million. Halo 3 we know did 15 million. So you might as well 25 million in the 360 generation alone. I'm not even counting ODST. That's not fair. I'm not even count that. That's 6.2 million. I'm just comparing what was done in the 360 era. In the 360 era, which is the golden era for the Xbox, the Halo games outsold the Gran Turismo games. I'm not talking about the entire franchise. The point that I'm trying to make, you're trying to argue semantics with me, Cold Blood. The point that I'm trying to make is that yeah, the Halo games sold like gangbusters during the 360 era. They sold a lot in the OG Xbox era. It didn't matter. That wasn't the draw. The draw was the additional games that you had. Because if the draw was Halo alone, then y'all wouldn't have lost 29 million to 150 million to the PlayStation 2. So that's the overarching point, is that Halo alone didn't do this. What made the 360 competitive in the way that it was the barrage of highly sought after games during the 360 generation. That's what did it. So I have to look at what my brother, my good brother Doc Dork is saying, and I have to say, survey says, it's not right. What started this downward trajectory as far as console saturation is Xbox foolishly followed the bait that was set up by PlayStation. Oh yeah, we care about indies. Oh yeah, we can do the power narrative. Oh yeah. We can have first party game. We can have more first party game. No, make the deals that need to be made, so you have the heavily sought after AAA genre defining titles that will bring in and anchor in the hardcore gamers. When you bring in and anchor in the hardcore gamers, those that play the Fortnites, the Call of Duties, and everything else, they got other casual gamers that play with them. And when I say casual gamers, I mean all they're playing is those games. But those casual gamers are going wherever those hardcore gamers are. Why? Because those hardcore gamers are the best gamers in those clans. Like, for instance, if I were to start playing Call of Duty, let's just say if I didn't care about AAA games, I really didn't have a preference on where I played. I just want to play Call of Duty, and I want to kick ass in Call of Duty. And just say I have a kick-ass clan. And the kick-ass clan is like, hold on, all right, next generation is coming up. Where are we going to get Call of Duty at? Do you really think that they're saying to themselves, oh man, well, Xbox bought Call of Duty, and now that they own them, we better pick up an Xbox? No, they ain't saying that. What they're saying is, for instance, hey, yo, Cold Blood, where is you going? And Cold Blood is like, oh, bro, I'm going to PlayStation. I can play Final Fantasy, Spider-Man, God of War. I'm getting my Call of Duty on the okay, well, that's where we going. Because Cold Blood is the best one in our clan. We go where he goes. That's how it works. We've known this for generations. That's why, even though you'll have 150 million PlayStation 4s out there, the fact that there were 18 million God of War sold, that's still a success. Why? Because you anchored in so many hardcore gamers, and those hardcore gamers have so many casual gamers that follow them, that are observing them. Again, they're the cool kid in the high school. So wherever they go, the other gamers are going. This has nothing to do with PlayStation 3. Not at all. You cannot absolve Phil Spencer of the trajectory that the console is making. Now, you can look at it and say, well, I don't care about the console because I play Xbox on PC, or you may do what I do and play Xbox Game Pass on GFN. That's fine. But that's not the conversation that I'm having. The conversation I'm having is for those of you that are concerned for the console. Because you don't game on the cloud. You don't game on PC. You are heavily relying on that console. What I'm telling you is that Xbox is losing that battle on the console because the console has to function in a certain way in order for it to be competitive. And Xbox is not doing the things that it needs to make it competitive in the way that you need a box to be competitive. So because they're not trying to compete in that space, guess what's going to happen? The next iteration of the box is going to have to change. They cannot put all this money into the box if it's not selling as well as its competitors. They're going to have to go in a different trajectory. That trajectory is in the form of an AI machine learning stream box like the NVIDIA Shield Pro. Now, someone like MM2K, I don't mind an NVIDIA Shield Pro. Don't need it because I can game on GFN on my PC. But those of you, you're going to have problems with that. Y'all don't like the resolution of gaming on the cloud in the first place. You don't do it. You want native hardware, but you can't afford a PC. So the console gives you the best of both worlds, not any longer for Xbox. That's just the way that it is. You're going to get a stream box, an AI and machine learning box. And if that AI and machine learning box isn't good enough for you, I don't know what to tell you. The only thing I can tell you is you better get a PC. This is what I'm going to tell you. If the AI and if the stream box is not a good enough proposal for you, if that's not going to work out because your internet is inferior, your infrastructure, you don't want to bother with setting up your infrastructure, or you're just in a bad place where internet is not the greatest. Like I've seen where there's places where the internet is so bad that gamers, when they have console updates, they take their games to a local GameStop that happens to invest in internet enough, and people actually go and bring their Xbox or their PlayStation into the GameStop for updates because the updates might be so massive or whatever and their internet can't handle it. So yeah, Streambox isn't feasible for you in that scenario, and there's a lot of people in mid-America who fit under that scenario. So yeah, Streambox, you're gonna have to build a PC. Good luck, because PC gaming is not getting cheaper. It's not. I mean, DLSS 3 and Reflex technology, they're doing a lot of cool stuff, but at the bare minimum, you need like a 3000 series RTX card. I don't even recommend that. I'd say go, because I have a 3070. I would say at bare minimum, you need like a 3080 Ti. You know what I'm saying? At bare minimum, I wouldn't go below a 3080. You're going to need something more severe with more staying power, and it's going to be expensive. It's going to be expensive because we're talking, these cards are like $1,500, $2,000. That's 4 Xboxes. That's 4 generations of Xboxes. So it's not going to get cheaper. It's just going to get more expensive and more hectic for you. It is what it is. Cold Blood says 14 million out of an install base of 90 million is an. Yeah, that's where they don't understand. And that's where they think that the subscription model is going to hunker in the hardcore gamers. I think the subscription model is a cool additive to the hardcore gamer, but so for full transparency, there's nothing in the Xbox lineup of products and services that tantalize me except for PC Game Pass. I've canceled my my Ultimate subscription. I'll never go back to Ultimate because I'll never have a console. PC Game Pass is where it's at for me. So I am an Xbox customer. But even with PC Game Pass, I don't use it all the time. I'll see games that I like, and I might bust it out once a month, right? I might say, oh, Warhammer 40,000, I'll try that, and I might, do a play session once a month. Now, you may hear that and you're saying, well, Xbox is still getting your money. Sure. But see, what I'm doing is I'm going on CD keys. I'm getting cheap keys for $3 a month or whatever, trial subscriptions. I got to run this type of gimmick in order to get it to run. I'm doing a multitude of things, right, in order to take advantage of my PC Game Pass. Your average hardcore gamer is not going to do that. Your average hardcore gamer is going to say, do I really play on that? Nope. I'm not. Why do I need it? They'll see a game that they want to play on there, like a Starfield. That's why Starfield on PC Game Pass was showing crazy numbers during the launch. They'll get it, they'll play it, and they'll say, "Okay, done. I'm done with this game," and purge it. We call that the finesse. They'll finesse it. It's actually a loss in revenue for Xbox, because instead of Starfield anchoring you into the platform and you at least keeping the subscription model for 3+ months, for at least that amount of time, you just got it for one game, and instead of paying full retail for it, you paid $15 for it and you moved on your merry way. That's not helping Xbox. I don't care what litmus they're throwing out there, trying to tell you how many people played it on the third Tuesday after Friends. I don't care. It's simple math. Going to a subscription service to finesse a particular item in that subscription service, to letting it lapse within that same month, is finessing the a la carte system. You got to start now getting products that will hunker people in if you want that subscription. Like, it's problematic enough putting well sought after, really desired games in a subscription service. That's problematic enough. Again, PlayStation toyed with it, and they didn't even do day and date. They toyed with it with Horizon Forbidden West, put it in the subscription service sooner than they wanted to, looked at what they got via the subscription services because of it, the growth, saw what they would have got if they just would have continued to sell it a la carte, and realized that they lost $85 million. And they didn't even do day and date. They didn't even do day and date. So that's all we need to know when people say, oh no. See, when you crunch the math and you do the numbers, they're making $2 billion a year or whatever. What you're not factoring in is how much the cost of the games, the cost for them to make the games. We already saw the Crazy Core document on what they were willing to pay to get the games in there. But Halo costing $500 million. All this extra content that they're developing to add to the game, that costs money. All these other Starfield, that goes into the subscription. So when these subscription services are lapsed within 3 months, they're losing money. When people don't commit to the subscription service, finesse the game, instead of paying the full retail 60 or 70, you're losing money. It's simple X's and O's. It's simple math. Don't let Xbox, and let me tell you an old business, trust me, someone that's been doing Fortune 500 business for 25 plus years, all right? 15 of those years have been at a VP level, a sector VP, not a business VP, but a sector VP level. 15 of those years. Let me tell you an old trick. Whenever you're hitting into a new product or service that serves a different litmus, a new litmus, that really isn't defined yet in the market, they'll do a look here, look there, look here, look there. They'll loss lead, whatever it is, because they're still defining the market. And they want to keep going at it. And until they reach a certain point where they've lost too much or the trajectory is too low, they're going to keep giving you the most positive out perspectives of said market until the internal board says, okay, enough is enough. We got to cut this crap and we got to be transparent on why we're moving on. And Xbox just isn't at that point yet. They haven't completely drained the kettle. But the market for the subscription services, they're not defined. So they'll tell you, Starfield had the biggest launch before the Tuesday before a Friends repeat. They'll tell you all this ridiculous stuff. All these stupid player counts. How many new Game Pass subscribers did you sustain within the 3, 4, 5, 6 month period? Because Sony did the simple math. If we would have sold this game a la carte, we would have made this amount of money. But because we put it in a subscription service instead, this is what ended up happening. We end up with $85 million less. We're not getting those type of comparative numbers from Microsoft because they have enough in the kettle that they're willing to lose at the moment. And they're only sharing that information with the internal investors. That's what happens when you decide to loss lead in a sector that isn't, where the litmuses of success aren't totally defined in the market yet. That's how someone like Satya Nadella can go from having benchmarks for Game Pass and Xbox relate to his compensation and then change it to they no longer relate because he didn't hit those marks. You can do stuff like that when the litmuses for success are not yet defined. There's a huge difference though between something is successful and something is sustainable. If I say, you know what, I'm going to try something. Let me give it to you in a content creator's context. Say in order for me to get more subscribers, I go and buy 5 PlayStation 5s. And I say, you know what? Okay, or better yet, let's just say I got 5 G's that I'm willing to invest in my platform. So the first thing I do is I go buy 5 PlayStation 5s. That's $2,500, right? And I do giveaways. Because I'm trying to gain subscribers, I'm trying to get members or whatever, and in hopes that, you know, it'll lead to sustained viewership, sustained members plus, whatever the case may be, to where, okay, I'm on a trajectory to where I know I'm going to make that 5 stack back maybe in a year's worth of time. Let's just say I get to a point to where I'm like, okay, now I'm hitting at $500 revenue per month. So I'll make that 5 stack back in 10 months. And by the end of the year, I'll start making I'll be in the positive, right? Okay. So that's the goal that I'm trying to reach. I'm trying to get to $500 of income per month. So I say I put aside $5,000 to attempt this, right? First thing I do is I buy 5 PlayStation 5s and I do selective giveaways. And after I've done I gave away those PlayStation 5s, I'm up to $50. No, I'm up to $100. I still got $2,500 left. So I say, you know what? All right. Let me go give away. Maybe it's a PC that everybody wants. I give away a $1,500 PC. Nice PC, got a 3070 in it, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And I give that away. And that gets me up to $100. Now, is what I'm doing sustainable? Yeah, I still got 1,000 in there. It's growing, but not to the point to where I want it to grow yet. Not to where I need it. Let me say, okay, let me switch. I didn't buy 5 PlayStations. I bought 5 Xboxes. And I only got up to 50. Okay, and it's still sustainable because I have it, because my silver bullet is now that I got 1,000 left, I'm going to buy 2 PlayStations. That's the most desired console. When I put these 2 PlayStations out there as giveaways, that should shoot me up at least to 400. We'll settle for 400, even though my original goal was 500. If I can go from wherever I'm at, let's say 200. If I can go from 200 a month to 400, I'll settle for that. I may have fell under my mark, but at least it's sustainable, right? And I give away the 2 PlayStations, and it only takes me up to 250. Now, I got to look at that and say, you know what? Before I put in any more money, is this even sustainable? Because I'm not hitting the benchmarks that I'm supposed to be hitting. For every $1,000 that I invested, my original plan was for me to at least get back 100, to get back 10% of that, and then it'd grow gradually. I still got more in the pot. I'll keep going, but oh man, I'm not hitting that 10% mark. And that's what I'm saying happens when you loss lead. There is a percentage that you're looking at to get back, or there's a magic number. And Microsoft, for the investors, kept putting that litmus out there, that magic number, and they kept failing to meet it. Now, they still got enough in the pot that they projected that they'll continue to burn through to see this through. We just don't know what that number is. That number hasn't leaked. But believe you me, it's not an infinite amount. At some point in time, the cattle is going to be fully purged. And something is going to give if they do not change the trajectory of how Game Pass is reaching out to gamers, new subscribers, the console. Something's going to change. This is a business at the end of the day. Even when they're loss leading, even when they have a big treasure chest to loss lead with, there is not an infinite amount that they can go with. People with low business acumen think they can just keep doing this forever and ever and ever and not see the returns that they set up to see. It doesn't work like that. I'm sorry. Something's going to have to give. That's why I keep sending out the warning bells. Don't sit there and look at it like, well, why do I care? If they got the money to do it, let them do it. Because you're investing in something that works perpetually, or you're investing in something like it can work perpetually without it seeing success. That is the antithesis of how businesses work. Even when they're loss leading, something's going to have to give. The money that they're making gets seriously depleted by the cost of the games, by the cost of the deals that they have with EA and with whomever. Those are not infinite resources. They have to be reaching a certain benchmark as far as return for them to say, okay, now we're comfortable where we're at. Over X amount of time, we'll get our money back and some, and it'll continue to grow. Okay, we lost lead enough. This is not sustainable. Y'all talking about, oh, AAA gaming ain't sustainable. This isn't. This is why Xbox is the only one doing this. When you say doing this, yes, putting their games in a subscription service day and date and investing a lot in other multi-plat games to go on their subscription service day and date. They're the only ones doing this. It's a cool option to have, but unless the quality of the games are a must-have, I don't see where it ever becomes sustainable. Maybe if Game Pass was a subscription service full of like indie games or $30 games, highly sought after indie games, yeah, okay, that's different. Maybe that's sustainable. But if you're going to put in a subscription service that has day and date AAA games because of the cost of those AAA games, they better bring all the boys to the yard. You know what I'm saying? And that's not happening. And that, my friends, is why despite them dropping the console $150 for the Series S and the Series X, they still couldn't see success this holiday season. They were outsold 3-1 globally and more astoundingly 2-1 in the States. That's a death sentence. I don't mind Xbox. I don't mind the proposal of Xbox going out to go get games and putting them in a subscription. If they want to loss lead that way, that's fine. I'm worried about me hunkering in and getting used to a product because I've been there with Stadia. I'm worried about hunkering in and getting used to a product for it all to be too good to be true. For me to get used to it, like it, and because it wasn't sustainable on the back end or because they weren't reaching the objectives that they truly sought after, I think that more defines what happened with Stadia. I just think that the ideas and the notions that the top brass had at Alphabet was too lofty for a cloud gaming service, especially in the way that they invested in it, in the way that they marketed it. I think if they were more realistic and they just looked at how it was doing against its peers, it would still be around and it would have highly benefited from Microsoft getting ABK and the rest would have been history, but that's a whole nother podcast. But I'm concerned about those who are getting used to this. This is how they engage with games, and this does it all for them. It's going to go away if it doesn't do better. I don't think that's healthy as a consumer to sit there and say, well, as long as they can do it, then I'm fine with it. I will cross that bridge when we get there. If you live and die off of Game Pass, which there's nothing wrong with that, you better keep an eye open. They went from talking about this as their flagship money earner to, oh, no, it's only going to be 15% of our revenue. That should have sent shockwaves to not fanboys, but even fans. Now the way which they make most of their revenue through the ecosystem, the console, is being outsold 3-1 and 2-1 in its biggest in the region, the only region where it can compete. You can't give me that, oh, it doesn't matter about console sales. Then where are they making the money up at as far as the ecosystem is concerned? ABK belongs to the streets. That's multi-plat money. That's Microsoft gaming money. We're not talking about Microsoft gaming. We're talking about the Xbox division. And for those of you that don't have the business acumen, yes, each division has to be sustainable within itself. So, if you can't compete in that arena of creating an expensive console the way that PlayStation is doing, why do you think that they're going to continue with the console in that form? in order for you to compete in the console realm, you don't look back to the PlayStation 3. You don't make excuses like gamers are brainwashed. You stop what you're doing. You go to Xbox and you say, look, Phil, Matt Booty, and to a degree, Sarah Bond. Sarah Bond's over the platform and Game Pass. It's not really her call. You say, look, you guys got to figure it out. You got all this talent here, and you can't put out a critically acclaimed game to save your life. This is absurd. Y'all got to do better. I want the console to stay. I want there to be an incentive for you to stay in this realm. I am your most vital consumer. In order for you to stay in this realm, you got to better curate the stuff that you bring out there. So I don't know if Matt Booty needs to be replaced. I don't know if he needs new staff to help support him, but something needs to happen. I need to be able to trust in the quality of your games just as much as I can trust in the quality of the PlayStation games, and just as much as Nintendo gamers can trust in the quality of those titles. That is the only thing that's separating you from PlayStation. It's the big only thing, but that's it. It's not about first party exclusives. It's not about the power narrative. It wasn't never about indies. It's about you putting out quality exclusive content. However you get it. And when I say quality, I'm not saying, well, I think Starfield is great. The general gaming populace doesn't agree with you. There's nothing wrong with you liking it, but for the sustainability of the console that you want to continue to see to operate in this arena, powerful console that gives you AAA genre defining experiences, until they can translate that on the cloud, which I don't think it's going to be about 2026. I seriously doubt it. If they can, then oh well. Then we'll recalibrate and talk about that then. But from what they've shown so far, I don't think so. If you're heavily reliant on the Xbox, then you need to get off of Twitter. You need to stop debating about Connie Booth or Connie Bonner, whatever the hell her name is. You need to stop talking about Spider-Man 2 bugs. You need to go to Phil. You need to go to Matt Booty. And you got to say, with all this effort, it's wasted if we don't have people in-house that can produce better games and can help curate better games. Well, I'm pretty sure we got the talent that can start making good games, but we need somebody with a watchful eye that can look over those games and say, nah, that's not it. Put it back in the oven. And let me give you a news flash. It wasn't Connie Booth that did that with God of War 2018 reboot. That was Yoshida. So stop looking over at PlayStation. I love David Jaffe, but sometimes once he's done vaping his wacky tobacco, let him take a nap. Don't fall for the annex all the time. I don't want to disparage Connie Booth or anything, but again, as I'm going to listen to Jack Tretton. Love David Jaffe, but I'm going to listen to Jack Tretton. Jack Tretton told us years ago, the way that PlayStation operates is you're just a cog within the machine. They don't rely too heavy on one or two people. So whenever their time is done with you, they got a sufficient cog to replace you, and they continue trucking along. And that's what we've seen with all this messy stuff with Bungie or whomever. They're still dropping high quality AAA genre defining games. They're still getting critically acclaimed. They're still selling their consoles like gangbusters. End of story. So we got to start seeing better from Xbox as far as the quality notion is concerned. This ain't got jack squat to do with PlayStation gamers being brainwashed. This ain't got nothing to do with that. This ain't got nothing to do with the PlayStation 3 had an awesome last 2 years. I saw what you was doing, Doc. You the homie though. I love you, bro. But you tried to admonish Phil Spencer of any of this. Phil was still in the mail room in charge of the tape disposals. He had nothing to do with this. Nah, puppy. Nah. And like I said, I like PC Game Pass. I like it as a product. It's interests me enough from where I am an Xbox customer. But I'm going to criticize where I need to criticize, man. I love AAA genre-defining games. And I love it to see these platforms curate those type of games. And Xbox just isn't... They're not working at the same pedigree anymore. They came in this game blazing, man. They were killing it. Oh my gosh. Oh well. With that said, that is it for your boy. Cold Blood says, dude, you're going hard overtime. We ain't getting much remnant in today if you continue. Yeah, we might be able to sneak. Oh man, I gotta leave here at 3. You still want to do about 45 minutes, Cold Blood, of remnant? Let me know. You down to do about 45 minutes? Yeah, what threw me off earlier is I had to go to one of the properties, and I had to meet with somebody. And the meeting should have only been 30 minutes, ended up being an hour and a half. Cold Blood said, nah. You know what? Now, if I didn't have to work early today, after I picked up my wife, I would have said, when I come back, let's play some. But as soon as I drop her off, I got to go to work. Today's my early day. I wanted to get some streaming and there's some more content I wanted to do too. But, all right. 2 hours minimum. I got you, bro. All right. So let's see here. Let's plan this for tomorrow. I tell you what, let's do this. Let's kill 2 birds with 1 stone, Cold Blood. Jump into the Discord. Jump back in here, bruh. And let's create something. Or no. Go into the Geeks Discord. Let's plan a time tomorrow, and then let's talk about something I can cover tomorrow at 9. Because tomorrow, hold on, let me see something. Did I get the GFN newsletter yet? So I'm gonna have to. Oh, let me see. Let me see if I got the GFN newsletter. Okay. Oh, let me see here. Woo! Uh-oh. Okay, yeah, this is going to be worth me covering tomorrow. Yeah, I'm not going to. Here's what I'm going to do. Oh, silky now. Yeah, they're going to like this GFN. I can't say nothing else. All right, so what I'll do, Cold Blood, is tomorrow I'm going to do GFN Blog Thursday. And that'll release at 9 a.m. At 9:30 my time, which I think is going to be 4 your time, I'm going to do a podcast until 12 my time. And then at 12 my time, no, until 11 my time, I'll take an hour break. And then at 12 my time, like how we were supposed to do today, at 12 my time, let's talk about it. Meet me in the Geeks Discord, bro, and we could talk about it. And we'll talk about the news story for tomorrow too. All right, and then also I'll slay you over the over your Gran Turismo mumbo jumbo. No, I'm just messing with you, brother. Yeah, let's talk about it in the Geeks Discord. All right, I'm out. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate y'all. Hold on, why is that still stuck like that? That was weird. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate y'all. Until next time, have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day. Peace.